I'm Nancy Cavey, National Arrested Disability Attorney. Welcome to Winning Isn't Easy. Before we get started, I've got to give you a legal disclaimer. This podcast is not legal advice. The Florida Bar Association says I have to say it, so now I've said it. But look, nothing prevents me from giving you an easy-to-understand overview of the disability insurance world, the games that carriers will play, and what you need to know to get the disability benefits you deserve. So let's get going. Look, disability insurance companies are not in the business of paying disability claims. It doesn't help their bottom line. One of the most common tools that disability insurance carriers will use at all stages of a claim is what's called a field interview. Now, in my last episode, I talked about mistake number 7, restrictions and limitations sitting. Mistake number 8, restrictions and limitations standing. Mistake number 9, restrictions and limitations walking. Mistake number 10, restrictions and limitations lifting, carrying, bending, and twisting. Mistake number 11, restrictions and limitations squatting and kneeling. And mistake number 12, restrictions and limitations use of your hands. Now, you would think that that should be the end of this whole series on mistakes that you can make in field interviews. But I'm sorry to say that there are even more mistakes that you can make. And in this episode, I'm going to cover the 6 types of questions that are commonly asked in a field interview. Now, remember, a field interview is a tool that disability insurance carriers use when, in my opinion, they're trying to set you up for a claims denial. You need protection from yourself and from the carrier. So this is why I think this series of podcasts are important. Now, before we get started, let's take a quick break because we've got a lot to cover. Stay tuned.
Have you been robbed of your peace of mind from your disability insurance carrier? You owe it to yourself to get a copy of Robbed of Your Peace of Mind, which provides you with everything you need to know about the long-term disability claim process. Request your free copy of the book at caveylaw.com today.
Welcome back to Winning Isn't Easy. You're ready to go? So why does the disability carrier want your statement? I'm disabled. My doctor says I'm disabled. So what's this all about? Now, I've spent 2 whole episodes with 2 more on the way talking about the field visit because I see so many claims denials based on the field statement. Now, many policyholders think that if they just talk with the insurance company representative or meet with them, that everything is going to be fine. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your claim is in trouble if the long-term disability carrier or the ERISA carrier calls you and asks to take your statement or they want to arrange a field visit. Now, what's the purpose of the field visit? I think there are 3 purposes. First, they want to prove that there's no objective evidence of your disability because your actions contradict what you say you can do or what you're telling your doctor. Number 2, they want to attack your doctor's reliance on your statements because if the doctor is relying on your statement about your restrictions and limitations or your functionality, and that's incorrect information, then the whole basis of the doctor's statement that you're disabled fails. And of course, then they want to argue that there's no evidence of a causal relationship between your disability and or your inability to engage in your own occupation or any other occupation. They don't like the restrictions and limitations that your doctor's assigned, and they want to punch holes in those restrictions and limitations. Now, I want you to remember that you have to prove at your own occupation stage that you can't do the material and substantial duties of your own occupation as defined by the very terms of your policy. Not your job, but your occupation. Now, at the any occupation stage, you have to prove that you can't do the material and substantial duties of any occupation by virtue of your training, experience, education, and the skills that you have learned. Different standards of disability and different games, just depending on where you're at in your disability insurance claim. Now, unfortunately, by the time that the long-term disability carrier or the ERISA carrier has asked to take your statement or have a field visit with you, they have probably done surveillance on you and they've had your doctor's records reviewed by their medical experts. The carrier, the adjuster who's handling your case, has come up with a laundry list of questions that they want to ask you that are going to help them justify a claims denial or a termination. Once they've taken your statement, the carrier is then going to take that information to your treating physician and say, aha, you relied on statements made by your patient about their activity level. Or, doctor, we've got some surveillance that we really want you to look at. And we want you to sign off on a letter that says you're capable of doing your own occupation, or if you're at the any occupation stage, at least sedentary work. And the whole purpose of this field statement is to spring a trap on you, to portray you as a liar, a malingerer, or a fraud. And they want to use that to deny or terminate your benefits. I'm going to give you some time to digest what I just said, because we're going to come back and talk about the next 6 mistakes. So let's get our head wrapped around the purpose of a field statement or an interview.